most developers, and actually programmers of all kinds, if you're only going to add 1 to a variable, we use increment or decrement if you're going to subtract 1. So increment is 2 plus signs, decrement is 2 minus signs. The minus signs are quite often used in games where you start at a total number of times and you kind of count down. And that's what this program does. It kind of counts down to blast off. And for the increment, which is used a little bit more, we use the plus signs. And this is ideal for a for loop just because you can put, your counter, your condition, and then the increment all in the same statement. Okay, and so all this is doing is, let me see. Looks like we've got a maximum and a minimum, and we're also doing a total. So we're entering a number, we're adding it to the total, and then we're checking to see if the number is bigger than what we have as the maximum, or if it's the first number, we set it, the number to the minimum. We set first number to false. Okay, and from that point on, we can check to see if the number is less than the minimum. Now, why do we do this? Well, because we set the minimum to 0, and 0 is always going to be the minimum. So we want to know if this is the first time we ran the program so that we can adjust our minimum number. Okay, and then we basically print out the results. We print out the total, we print out the biggest number and the smallest number. This program actually does a really good job of illustrating the difference between pre-increment and post-increment. Okay, and remember, with pre-increment, it changes the value before it does the conditional check. With post-increment, it does the conditional check and then it changes the value. So both A and B are set to 20. And so here, A equals, this is pre-increment. So it's not going to be 20 anymore. It's going to be 21. This is post-increment. So it's not going to increase the value until after it executes this. And so B is still 20 when it writes that out. Okay, and this does the same thing with decrement. So pre does it before, post does it after. And this is just another example of pre and post incrementing. And this is using the pre-increment or the post-increment in the expression itself. So remember, this is going to change before it checks for the equality, checks to see if it's equal to 10. Or actually, it's not going to, I have to think a minute. So this is not going to change. It's going to do the check first, and then it's going to add 1. This one is the one that changes it before it does the check. Okay, and so in both cases, I set the number to 10. Okay, and so I'm putting out what the original value of the number is. This is post-incrementing. So with this, it's not going to change the value until after it does the check. So 10 does equal 10. And it's saying the expression tested true because the original value is used in the conditional expression instead of the value of the new value. So 10 is equal to 10. Okay, otherwise it's going to print out this message if it's false, but it is going to be true. And then after it gets done with the if else, it's going to print out the new value, which now is going to be 11. So we can kind of look at that. The expression tested true, and then the new value is 11. For this one, this is pre-increment. So the value was 10, but before it checks for equality, it is going to change it to 11. So in this case, 11 does equal 11 because I changed the number. And so this one is going to test true. And because I did change the value that it's checking to 11, 11 equals 11. Okay, and then it'll write out the value, actually the next value, which is going to be 12. Now, did I change this? Oh, okay. So number was changed up here. So when we come in here, number is going to get actually changed to 12. Okay, because I didn't use a different variable. So, and I did not reset number to 10. So as we're coming through here, at this point, it is 11. And it takes that 11 value, changes it to 12. 12 does not equal 11. So it's going to come through here, print that out, and then it's going to print out the 12. And that's exactly what it did. Okay, so just different ways of kind of looking at that increment, the pre-increment and the post. And to be honest, I always use post. Okay, and I would recommend that you guys probably get used to one and just use that one, unless you have a very good reason for, doing like the pre-increment, because that is typically not used. Okay, so if there's a good reason for using it, then you can just be aware of how it affects conditional tests.